Namaste. Let's see. I think we're live. Yes. So happy to see so many of you have signed up and are here live right now. And welcome to this Satsang. Let's see. I hope it looks funny messages from the studio here, but we'll keep going and we'll see what happens. So, welcome to this Satsang. If you are new to this channel, Satsang is a Sanskrit word that means to share one's truth in company. And so these satsangs happen online now, since I used to be traveling around and met many of you world over, actually, and to share some experiences and to meet together and gather together. And as we now are not traveling so much, we can still travel in the inner world and we can connect in this media. So I'm very happy and excited to connect like this. And today's satsang topic is frequency of love. And this is something very dear to my heart that I've been wanting to share a long time and already have. So, frequency of love. I come from an academic, more scientific background, so I like the word frequencies and energies and vibration. It fits in the background of my family also. Living in Sweden, we are not so much religious here. People are spiritual, but they have a different, more clearer view without any borders around what it is. So it's more of a freedom to explore it. And I come from that kind of a family where I was free to explore it. So I discovered that what we call love is not necessarily an emotion. I found through the interconnection of the brain and the heart, and I'm going to lead you into, so this makes more sense, because I'm not here just to blabber something out. I really want to share something with you and why I'm starting like this. But see, the connection with the heart and the brain is so important to understand if you come from a more, like, you don't want to have just blind faith. You don't come from a religious, background. See, my whole seeking started as a child thinking, why do you have to be religious? Or why is one religion better than the other? And how come that not everyone should know about this? So that is my basic passion. And not until I found oneness did that make sense. Did everything happen on my own experience? And that's why the beauty of satsang is you're just sharing from your own experience. So the frequency of love, it is something that appeared inside. As the first time I received declutchment of the mind. A declutchment of the mind, I said, what is that? It was introduced in a oneness course in Sweden, 2002, in December. And the teacher, see, this was a 7-day course, a long course, where we had very little food and very little sleep. And we were all very tired, but it was to wear down the mind. I think most of us have longing to have a mind that would be more silent, or people are looking for that at least. So that's why I'm going for this approach. So we come into the frequency of love. Because it's a matter of fact that frequency of love is always there. It is the filters of our brain that is not allowing us to experience it. So that's why a focus on the mind and what is the mind and what is consciousness is a interesting path to take in, no matter what religious or spiritual path that we're all on. Because if there are 7 billion people on the planet, there are 7 billion different ways to experience our inner compassionate light, the spiritual platform that we have. We might not even call it anything spiritual. We might just call it the inner witness or the inner intelligence, super conscious. What we call it, how we relate to it, it must be private, personal for each and every one. So the frequency of love, that is the common denominator that we all have and we all experience. And it's not the kind of love that we see in like love stories, or we love someone because of some reason. No, it's a state of consciousness that is appearing from inside. And in this course many years ago, we learned about declutchment of the mind. Declutchment is like when you're driving a car, you put down the clutch. At least that's how I understood it when he shared about it. It's you changing, you clutching off, So that sounds very interesting. I would like that. But I was too tired to focus on him, and I was hungry and feeling miserable and thinking, why am I in this course? He said, we're going to do the declutchment of the mind. I go, I don't know what he's talking about. But I sure would want that. I sure had a passion for it. Now, I had received a very strong experience, what we could call a divine intervention, where I knew for certain that there is a great compassionate light inside every human being. So this came to be very helpful. And these are the kind of processes we're going to go about today in today's satsang, to help awaken that. And to have declutchment of the mind is just one little benefit of it. There are so many benefits. You don't want to be without this relationship, you can say. So, or at least this awareness of who you are, what is inside you, what is in the core of your being. So in this course, where it seems so complicated, and I've been studying and trying to understand the mind. I've been studying development of consciousness since as long back as I can remember. So when he came to this, it's like, oh, I just wish I could stay focused on what he's saying. But then there was an image of this light there in this course. And I simply remembered that, my inner higher sacred self. And I started talking to it. And I said, listen, is it possible that you can just give this to me, whatever he's talking about? Because I don't understand. I can't follow along in this session. Is it possible you can just give it? And out of the ignorance of not, I didn't realize it was the greatest shortcut you could ever have. So what happened was that the light, the presence, talked back to me and saying, well, of course, that's so easy. I said, oh, good. And all of a sudden, the body responded, and we'll get to this a little later. The body responded in such a way that it just sat up in a lotus there, listening to the course. It wasn't so strange to sit there in a cross, and eyes closed, and the body started breathing very slowly. And that which is the thinking or the mind that is usually going on, something clutched it off, or like just separated it like this, so that I can experience something vast, eternal. And there was also accessing the thoughts and the mind, if that was what was wanted, but it was instead filled with this all-encompassing frequency of love, where the body is experiencing something that I would call love. But it is a higher frequency that overrides all other frequencies. And in the laws of physics, we call this entrainment. It is when a very high frequency, very powerful frequency, is meeting a smaller frequency. Then the higher frequencies just bring in this smaller frequency, and then they all merge into one. It's that kind of experience to explain this experience that was very physical. It is not a psychological thing. It's not something we can do with the mind, because the mind itself is always trying that. It's trying different ways to get rid of itself, or to calm down, or this and that. I have found in my years of seeking, it's not possible. even though I've tried the most meditation techniques you can find out there. It is that very relationship I have found where you have possibility to ask for what it is that you want. You could say it is it's like a gold mine. it's a wealth, like a wealth consciousness. And you don't need anything else. Once you realize this, and I'll tell you how it happened and how this can help you as well. See, when we're small, we have more of a maybe childish way of looking at God. At least I had. At least I was looking for God. I was about 3 years old. I was very serious about this, and I learned praying. I was used to pray, with the kneeling and praying to God, even though nobody told me. No one is into that much here. I took it upon me to find and know God and relate to God. So that has always been with me since childhood. And maybe looking back, it must have been some past life or something, or how would I come in being like that? I don't know. So as we grow up, we start asking questions like the childish faith that we had when we were small, even though we had miracles happen. Did you also have? I had so many miracles happen, and I took it for granted, thinking that's how life is. I would talk to the animals and the nature. I would have sacred sounds as I fall asleep. I would go out in the universe. I would have experiences of touching and feeling and listening. And I knew for a fact that I could heal myself. I told my mom, who is a pharmacist and educated in medicine, I said, Mom, you don't need the medicine. You just do like this. I remember I was trying to. But, as a child, that is obvious to us. We have those kind of maybe knowledge. But we are here for a journey. We're here to develop. And as I grew older, I wanted to know this presence that I've been talking to. I wanted to understand it coming from a more psychological, intellectual background, scientific background that I live in. I realized that I was very teased when I was a teenager because I had this little button on my jean jacket in the 1970s saying, I love Jesus. Because that was my only thing that really worked for me. My life was just not happy. But in the 1970s, when everyone is trying to be cool, I'm sure they are doing that now too. But back then we didn't have iPhones and different things we just hang out together and trying to be as cool as possible. And this little button with I love Jesus, it just didn't make me fit like the cool people. So I said, because I used to always talk to the light in different forms. So I talked to Jesus. I said, so obviously this relationship is not working because I'm not getting popular at all. I'm being just teased for everything, and I was becoming very shy. So I made a deal that I will find out myself. And I set about a journey, and I ended up in Los Angeles, California, where they have like everything in New Age you could ever find. So this was like a smorgasbord for me. I read all the books, everything, courses, interviews, anything I could go and listen to, I would be there. And through learning meditations, very nice. And we learned to meditate on the higher self, very nice. But the rest of the day, 45 minutes a day meditation, fantastic. But the rest of the day, I worked in Hollywood. It was a horrible experience, to say the least, of trying to fit in when you're already very afraid and insecure. I was thinking, because I just happened to get that job, I didn't even know Hollywood was there. It's another long story, very strange, how the life is put us into situation where we're being pushed into a corner where there's no more escape routes. Because there I also saw all these rich and famous people, these beautiful people. I also happened to come into modeling, and all these beautiful people in the world, they all, flock to LA. And so I got to see that nobody's happy. and nobody's finding what I'm looking for. So the seeking, the searching at that time became even more painful. So not until many years later, as I then became a mom and, having a small child, there's no time for meditation even. So we moved back to Sweden, and it was here that I finally, after then 20 years of trying on my own, and this is important. So this you can pay attention to if you if you fell asleep on my other story, wake up now. Because it is important that we try ourselves the best we can to see that you have done everything you can. Because we come to a point, at least I was there in my life, when I was past 40. I now had 2 children. I had a divorce, so I was managing on my own. My life was at my very worst in my life ever. And that which I've been seeking for all my life was definitely not fulfilled. And now I had great responsibilities. And how should I manage? I worked in alternative medicine and holistic medicine to try to help people be free of stress in the body, hoping that maybe one day I will also be free of that. Now, I come to the point where you can pay attention in your own life. And that is the fact that this what we're looking for. If you're also looking for that, which I was looking for all my life, then it is something that is given to us. It is a gift, but we can't prepare for it. It is like we are opening the window and we just wait for the nice breeze to come in a hot summer day. Now we have to open the window at least, otherwise the breeze cannot come in. So this time we have together can be a preparation for that, to help you how. So when that breeze comes, because it'll be overwhelming. I did not prepare. I was not prepared at all when this happened in a cold February day in Sweden, 2002. And when the divine consciousness came into my life in a very physical way, not the way I've been studying or meditating or have concepts about it, but it came in a very, like a thunder. There's no mistake. Every cell in the body is like, oh, something is going on. And it came with a voice. And this I have shared many times, but if you're new to this, listen. If you have heard it before, hear again. I still live by this. This is now 20 years, almost 20 years later, isn't it? Well, 18 years later. It's still what I navigate with. It's the GPS in my life. So to live our lives, we need to have a little bit of knowledge of what is consciousness and how to navigate in this, in our inner world. And when this divine intervention happened, when the voice of the divine or the voice of love, not the kind of love you could imagine, but it was like a voice that came from outside the corners of the universe, if you could imagine, and also from very bottom inside of me. Now, I've had 2 near-death experiences prior to this experience. And so I have gone into the light when the heart stopped and I was released into the light. But I was kicked back by some light beings that came and showed me. If I lived in the old times, I would probably say there were some angels that came out. But for me, it was definitely light beings, my family, another part of me that was much more intelligent than what I was. So there I was, wanting to get into the light, because when you see this light, this great compassionate light, there is nothing like it. There is nothing that could ever compare to it. It is the kind of love that we don't even have words for. It is intelligence. It is compassion. It is everything that we could ever seek for in anything in our lives. There is nothing that compares to it. And I think everyone who's had a near-death experience would say the same. So to have the option of, do you want to go back? It was not an option. It's like, no, it was about convincing the light beings why they should let me in. It was all about that. And it was a very humorous dialogue until one of them said, I'm going to walk you down there again, because twice I left the body. This is the second time. Let's just have this clear, shall we? You have a purpose. And he showed me the purpose. And I understand everyone has a purpose. There's a reason for our incarnation. We might wonder, what is this lost place I'm in? It's like we're all driving a car and we don't know where we're going, that kind of a thing. So the purpose of this incarnation was shown to me, because the second time around, they figured, she's a relentless one. If she comes again, her body might not take it a third time. So let's just show her. So they showed me. And then I laughed so hard, and I can't remember what it was I saw, but it was very joyous. And one of them said, I will walk you into the body again. And walking in, I have shared it before, but it's very important that you grasp this paradox that we have the light, we have this great compassionate light inside us. Not like a surgeon opens up and you go, oh yeah, there it is. It's not like that. We don't understand it with our physical law. But there is layers of us. And the very outside of our beingness is that all-encompassing light. We can call it our bliss body, our light body. And also very inside this physical body, we have a prana body, we have a mental body, we have wisdom body, and all this. And inside, the very core of us is that supreme light, the supreme love. That is who we are at the very core of our being. That is what we can call the frequency of love, because it doesn't compare to anything else. Anything that you put in front of it, anything that you offer into it, it just swallows it. It eats it for breakfast. So what this compassionate light, when it manifested that day in February in Helsingborg, Sweden, for me, it gave a teaching that still is working. And if you want to have this declutchment of the mind and this experience the frequency of love, this is the formula for it. The teaching that was given from the great compassionate light was, don't be afraid to meet your inner suffering. Don't be afraid to just be with that, to stay with it, to experience it. That was what it was conveying. Then started the process, because my life was no longer an empty Hollywood movie, because that's what I was starting to realize when I moved back to Sweden. Maybe the seeking of God, seeking of divine. Is there a God? Is there a divine? What is this universe? All this is just like a Hollywood movie. It's all fake. That's what I started to think. I was at that point in my life where I had tried everything myself. So everything myself. And you know how when you paint a room, I was painting my room and of consciousness, and I was at the corner. And there's no escape routes. I've done everything I could to try to feel good. I won't do any substances. I'm just trying my best to handle life, and there was no escape routes. Nothing would work. So that's where the divine showed up to give me this teaching, which set me off on a journey that could help you also. Especially in this timeline that we are now living in, this time when we are experiencing so much trauma in our world, with our families, and our world is changing. What do we hold on to? How can we help each other? How can we grow and be together in this? And knowing that a part of us, we can call it our shared consciousness. Why complicate things? It's something that we share. You and I, we're unique. We are different, but we have a consciousness that we share, our common denominator. That is the great compassionate light. Everyone has it. It's just that we relate to it in our own personal way, like a mathematical equation, right? There's a number on the top that is us. You are your unique number. But then there's a line and there's a common denominator. That's what we share. So if we understand frequencies and the frequency of love that way, we can also understand that that which is the mind, the thoughts, and whatever is going on within us, we don't have to change that. It's a waste of time. But it might be valuable to go after that until you have also painted yourself into the corner. You go, I can't do it on my own anymore. I need help. Because not until then is the mind come to the conclusion that I need to have help from outside my ability to help. I've tried everything I could. So the mind is like a good businessman, this is not bringing me the profit. So then you can have a divine intervention. And that would be opening the window, which we're going to do pretty soon. We're going to start processes of opening window so that breeze of grace can enter into your window of consciousness. Consciousness is what you are aware of in your life. Then you also have a subconscious, and that is what you're not aware of, but it's still our consciousness. So what we have in our lives is coming from our brain. It's creating a picture of reality from that perception from our consciousness, which we are aware of. What is going on? Are we aware of what is happening? Yeah, some things we are aware of. Some things we are not aware of. It just kind of pops up. And that's our subconscious, our individual unconscious. Don't fall asleep. We're soon going to do some very exciting things. Just a short run overview. We also have a shared unconscious. So that which is in the unconscious, under the surface, we're not aware of it, but it's there anyway. We have also a shared collective consciousness, which is what we are aware of. Now, what we see in the world right now, since we came into a new timeline, 2012, many ancient civilizations have spoken about this. The Mayan calendars, for instance, ended 2012. The different other aboriginals, the Vedic, all these different cultures have talked about a shift of the time that we're coming into. So 2012 was important for that, as our consciousness now started to function from a different platform. The Mayans spoke about the calendars as a pyramid. So instead of having a book that they gave from generation to generation, they built a pyramid. You've seen these 9 levels, and the top one is a plateau. And they shared this to generation to generation. That when you come to the platform, the timelines to the top, then you have to download the divine consciousness. They did not say download, I'm sure, but I am just relaying what I have learned from my dear friend, Dr. Carl Kaleman, who studied the Mayans with the elders in Mexico for many years. So I've done workshops together with him. So what I'm sharing with you here is what I learned from him. And before I met him, I studied the Mayan calendars, all the 1980s. Of course, I was in Los Angeles reading everything that I could come by with the development in consciousness, the crystal skulls, everything, you name it. I've been there looking at it. So interesting, everything. And I knew then in the back in the 1980s that when it comes to 2011, wow, we must live in the space age then, I was thinking. That's when time's going to start to change. We're going to experience time in a different way. And it so happened that then I got into this divine intervention, started studying at the Oneness University with the spiritual avatars, Sri Amma and Sri Bhagavan, who could guide us into having our own experience of this great compassionate light that had already met then 10 years earlier in the near-death experience. So everything I learned was already there in the experience. So putting the dots together, and that's what my sharing has been over the years as I've been traveling. I've only shared from my own experience, my own understanding. And we keep learning in this process. It's not a journey like, you're finished ever. As long as you're breathing, you can learn and you can grow. And what I'm passionate about is, well, my profession is to work with holistic medicine, the body, and the consciousness and the body and how it affects each other. So my specialty is in craniosacral, working with the plates of the skull that is protecting the brain and how that is affecting the brain, the neurons in the brain, and how our thoughts and our mind is affected by what we have in our heart. So the connection between the heart and brain is very, very important. So the courses and the workshops that I've been offering, both as I'm traveling and here at Ramlösa Meditation Center, is processes to help us move into that direction where that supreme light was guiding me. Don't be afraid to meet your inner suffering, right? So there was wisdom in that. It was guidance. It wasn't like, see, many people who pray, and I was like that when I was a child also, and my prayers were often heard. I had the most peculiar prayers, but it was between me and my God. So I knew that God was alive, but it was a one-way thing, peculiar prayers, but I usually got answered from it. But as we get older, we can start exercising that right we have to develop the relationship with that presence in our heart for our own benefit, to ask for what it is we want. So developing this relationship is what we're going to do processes with now. And there are different ways that we can develop that bond and how we can receive grace in our lives. If we are spiritual or religious, then it's a benefit, because then we are raised in that kind of a thinking that there is a God and we can receive God's grace. Well, that's wonderful. But there are many people who don't believe in any particular religion, who don't have that upbringing. Or what if they are born into a country where they have the wrong religion that is seen as wrong from some people? Well, how could God create such a thing? That seems so strange. So anyway, you have the picture of reality of that as you feel is fit. But the divine consciousness is love. It's compassion. The best word for it is the great compassionate light. I think that would be the best word for it, especially in these times. Isn't that what we all need to access now? It's not about judging who is right and who is wrong and what are they doing and this and that. It used to be religions fighting, and then it's political parties fightings, and then it's families fightings, and now inside our countries are fighting. We need to develop, we really need to look for that compassion. And this compassion, my dear friends, it's not a psychological thing that we can manage. We can't find this with our mind. We need to look for it. We need to see what the truth is, because goodness and truth go together. I know that we are limited on our time today. I will have deep process course, online course for the new year for this, that you don't want to miss this if you really want to transition for the coming 2021 shift for this world. Please join me on that online course. It's on the, I believe, 27th of December. On a Sunday, we'll have an online course where you will have deep-seated processes. We're going to go into it now too, but we need a little longer time to process deeper issues we might have with us that we need to release into the light, to connect strongly with the light. Because these times, my friends, we need to anchor really strongly into our own compassionate light inside us to manage through. Because to walk into that pathway of light, it is like walking on the edge of a sword. It's very easy to fall into the traps of the mind, that the mind says, oh, but I can get you into gratitude. I can get you into compassion. Oh, I'm a very grateful and loving being. I used to think like that. So we need some processes, right? Now, there are basically 3 ways to access grace. And we're going to do all 3 here for the next of this satsang so that you can experience some of this yourself. One is the act of prayer. Prayer is you take an intention, or you're simply talking. You're just speaking to the light. Once you have an insight that, yes, I do have this presence of light within me that is filled with compassion, it's my very essence, well, great. You can build a bond with it. You can talk with it. And you do that every day. Eventually, that will be a habit. The brain catches up that there's something happening in the heart. Let's just listen to what the heart is saying before I take a decision. So it's so many benefits of taking some time for this. So that we will do. And then we have something called sacred sound mantras. And this we're also going to do. You can do this yourself. And this is a great passion since many years back, since the beginning of 1980s. This is how I discovered that there is actually a presence inside my heart. It's not fake, it's the real thing. I just don't know what to do because I can't sit and chant sacred mantras all day, even though I did when the possibility was given. I could go into Friday and go on to Sunday night. Because when you chant a sacred mantra, something happens in this brain-heart connection. And we're going to do a few of them here. And also, I have recorded many CDs that you can download through my web shop on the website. It's audio download. And they are made to be functional for you. There's especially one called Bija Mantras that you can use as a medicine. I call it medicine for transformation. Because we need something when we access or come across something that is a challenge in our life or suffering, something that does not feel good, anxiety, fear, chaos, whatever could happen in our lives, could happen at any time. Why? Why did this happen? Because the subconscious, the collective unconscious is cleansing itself now. That's why we experience this in the world. Nothing is wrong. It's a huge evolutionary process happening. It started 2012. We're just now seeing the bigger effects of it. So we need to understand higher laws of consciousness and how we can navigate through these times. How we pray, what we say in our prayers, and to utilize this higher consciousness. So to sing a sacred sound mantra, this Bija mantras, these are very powerful mantras. We'll sing one of them here too. And this satsang will be recorded, so you can listen to it again if you want. And you can, of course, also download one of the CDs. It's not about if you're a great singer or not. It's got nothing to do with that, actually. It has to do with it's called Sanskrit bhava. Bhava is your feeling. Bhava. It's your passion or your connectedness to that sacred presence. And it has to do with your focus, like how focused you are when you sing a mantra or when you listen. You can also listen to a mantra. You don't have to sing. But bringing in the sacred mantras in your life is the best thing you can do. There's nothing that compares to it. It is the presence, the vibration of this great compassionate light. So focus and feeling. And then you can do it. You can sing it loud. It will affect the muscles, the cranial bones, the skeleton bones, and your nervous system. And you can whisper it, and then it affects higher consciousness inside you. And then you can also, the most powerful way to repeat a mantra is to silently just repeat it. And that comes after you have practiced it out loud and maybe whispered it for some time. You can actually have it silently inside. And the even stronger way to utilize higher consciousness through sacred mantras is when the mantras themselves come to you and you start hearing it. You hear it from inside. All of a sudden you go, so it's God talking back to you. That is one language. It's a language of the divine, you can say. And when you become a little bit obsessed with it, I have to be one of those because it's been so long on this journey. And I love singing mantras because it's so simple. You don't have to learn so much. And even these mantras I'm going to sing here today, you can just copy the sound. That's how I learned mantras. I didn't even know the meaning. I remember it took me a whole day to learn this Mula mantra. I didn't know what it meant. It took 6 months, and I had then already used it for so many miracles. I worked for the hospital in Helsingborg, and so many miracles had already happened to the employees of the hospitals, asking, and I didn't know. I said, "Oh, this is some miracle mantra." That's all I knew, and I would sing it, and things would happen. Then I learned that it's like a phone number to the divine. Oh, I didn't know. And then I learned every little syllable and everything it meant. That's fantastic. So even if you don't know the meaning of the mantras, I can tell you a secret. They all mean different aspects of the divine. The Sanskrit language has about 3,000 different words of what we call divine, God, or superconscious, higher consciousness, something like that. They have much more evolved that language. That's why it's so powerful. And it's been sung and practiced for thousands of years. So it has very much power in it when we sing it. So these are the different ways. Sing it out loud, whispering, do it silently inside, or eventually it starts repeated singing it or repeating it or chanting it inside. So in this process we're now going to do, we're going to use all of these. So we're going to use prayer, mantra singing, and the intention. So let's go for some processes now. You can close your eyes and connect to the body. Now the physical body is very important in this time that we live in now. As you already have become aware that the immune system is so important. And this thing we call awakening or enlightenment, it is something given to us by the great compassionate light, and it's given through the immune system. And we will go through that to have an understanding of that a little bit more later. But just know that the physical body has a very strong immune system where when a foreign particle comes into it, if your immune system is strong, it sends out its white blood cells like the police and saying, "No worries, mate, I got this." And it just brings it out through the different ways it can bring it out. Through the intestines or the bladder or the skin or the breathing. It just comes out, comes in and comes out. That's a healthy immune system. So this process that we have introduced here, it is similar. We have immune system of our consciousness that if we don't resist or reject any negative emotion, or we can call it challenge or a suffering of some sort, we don't reject it. We just say it's here. We call upon the immune system, which is that great compassionate light inside us. It is handled. It is taken care of. It's nothing that we need to do anything about. It is handled by our light body once that is activated. And that is activated by grace. We'll go deeper into it at another satsang and another online course, but at least it's introduced to you how important the immune system is. And there's many things that we can do to increase the immune system for the body. Now, so look at the sacred body that you have. This body is so precious. It's through this body that this transition in consciousness can happen. Honor it every day. We never know when our last breath is to be taken. We never know. Every day wake up and say, this is a new day, a new possibility. Every day we wake up, we get a new chance. It's a new dawn. And take an intention as you wake up saying, today will be the best day of my life. I will do everything I can to make this a great day and to have the people I meet to to greet people, to move into my highest potential as a human being. You can take an intention like that, and you can ask for a blessing from the supreme light inside your heart. This I won't get out of bed actually without putting my hands on my head asking for a blessing, because who knows what will happen this day. Our world is unpredictable, and that is life. Life is unpredictable. We got to have our light with us. We got to have a blessing from our light with us. Please do this for yourself and for your family. Ask for protection and love for your family as well. So every day you can have a few moments like this. Go to a sacred place, and you start by looking into the body, relaxing the body. We start from the feet, the legs, relax. Honor your body, your hips, your pelvic region, your buttocks, you relax. Your back and spine, relax. Your stomach, relax. Your shoulders, your chest. Be aware of your body, your arms and hands and fingers. Relax your body. Be aware of what's going on. Our body is so important. You will see it as you go along in this process. Your neck and throat, relax. Your whole head and your face. We're in this physical body such a short time. However long we're here, it's a huge potential. It's a huge gift as we can access the supreme light through this physical body in a very easy way. So you have taken birth in this body. Honor it and take a moment to give gratitude to your body. As in higher processes, you will find out that, and as you get declutchment of the mind, and as you get higher processes, neurobiological surgery, the body is very important vehicle. To have health of the body is very important. So honor your body. You can take an intention now that you will take good care of it and give it the proper nutrition. It needs nutrition. It needs good, valuable food. And it needs to move, exercise, yoga or walking, or however you want to exercise. It needs to be moving. The body wants to be active. And also honor your intellect, your capacity to think and sort out problems, to seek solutions for your problems. Honor your intellect, your capacity of thinking. Now, we are putting a focus inside our heart. Allow the breathing to happen the way it wants to happen. And allow the mind to be the way it is. We're not here to change the mind. Not at all. It is in this process of declutchment, it is of no use. It will not take you anywhere to be working inside the mind. The mind is a very helpful tool for higher processes. So just leave it. Allow it to be the way it is. And if you develop the habit of doing a vipassana meditation every day, this is what we're doing now, then it will be very helpful for you in higher processes. You get used to being with whatever is happening with you in the moment. Isn't that fantastic? What if in the middle of your anxiety or fear or whatever is happening, you could just sit down and just be with that, because you are allowed to. You don't have to change anything. Actually, your consciousness would welcome it. It said, let's hang out with this anxiety, whatever it is. Don't try to resist it, please. Let's be friends with it. Let's make friends with it. Let's hang out with it. So you connect with the supreme light inside your heart, great compassionate light. It is a presence of peace, of kindness, of joy for no reason. The very rock bottom of any experience in your life has that joy. We don't believe it when we are caught up into the drama of the mind. We don't believe at that time that there could be such a thing as a happy moment ever again in our lives. But We have to receive that experience for ourselves. If we don't run away from all of these miseries in our lives, we actually awaken to that compassion, that joy, that peace inside. So be with that now. Connect with that presence in your own way. We're going to use a sacred mantra for this. You can sing along in this mantra, or you can listen to it. You can learn it, you can sing it later, or just whisper it, or repeat it silently inside. It is a sacred mantra that works like a phone number. Every aspect of the divine we're calling for. To increase the intention, the prayer, is to increase this bond between your brain, your picture of reality, how you view the world, and your heart, that great compassionate light, our common denominator, our shared consciousness. Om Sachitananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Sameta Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Om Sachitananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Sameta Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Om Sachitananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Sameta Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Shri Bhagavati Sameta Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Shri Bhagavati Sameta Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Om. And stay with your eyes closed. Give gratitude. Give gratitude to that presence inside your heart. As we give gratitude, it is like putting a fertilizer on that seed of the divine placed inside your heart through a sacred mantra. Each mantra is placed inside the heart. As we take it in through a sacred channel inside ourselves, that sacred platform inside ourselves, we welcome it in like a seed. It stays with us. So, to take good care of it, we give it gratitude so that it can grow and flower in our lives. Now, if you have something in your life that you're struggling with now, maybe some kind of pain or suffering, some challenge in your life, you bring one thing now in your life that you wish to have help with. We're going to go into our heart and we ask for help from our great compassionate light. And this you can do yourself. Every day you can call upon this, the great supreme compassionate light that we have done now. You call upon it. And then you can ask help from that presence inside you. And you will receive an energy transfer from this sacred mantra. You just listen to it or repeat it or listen to it silently. And as you have this challenge in your life, you just take it into your heart. See, inside your heart, you have a sacred fire. It is a sacred flame of the divine. You know how a fire can transform anything that you give into it. Anything that you put into the fire, it will be transformed. You have a sacred fire like that inside your heart. It never is put out once you have ignited it with your passion. You're asking to please be with me every day. That fire is kept alive and it will help you. It is that which transforms, that which is called alchemy of consciousness. It is through accessing that sacred fire inside our heart. Every human being can access that. So you can see yourself seated by that fire like a big campfire. You feel so safe and secure sitting by that fire. And anything in your life now that you are struggling with, that you're fighting with, you give it into the fire. You just give it in gratitude and just stay there and listen to this sacred mantra. Shiva Namo Om Namah Shivaya. Shiva Namo Om Namah Shivaya. Alak alak boom, alak boom, alak Shiva Shambho. Alak boom, alak boom, alak Shiva Shambho. Kailash ki Raja Shiva bole, bom 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 Bholenath. Kailash ki Raja Shiva bole, bom 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 Bholenath. Shiva Namo Om Namah Shivaya. Shiva Namo Om Namah Shivaya. Alak boom, alak boom, alak Shiva Shambho. Alak boom, alak boom, alak Shiva Shambho. Kailash ki Raja Shiva bole, bom 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 Bholenath. Kailash ki Raja Shiva bole, bom 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 Bholenath. Shiva Namo Om Namah Shivaya. Shiva Namo Om Namah Shivaya. Alak boom, alak boom, alak Shiva Shambho. Alak boom, alak boom, alak Shiva Shambho. Kailash ki Raja Shiva bole, bom 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 Bholenath. Kailash ki Raja Shiva bole, bom 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 Bholenath. Bom 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 Bholenath. Bom 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 Bholenath. Om. And stay with your eyes closed. Give gratitude to that presence, the transformer in your life. As you give in to that sacred fire in your life that transform, transmute the alchemy of the divine consciousness, the transformation that happens as you connect into that sacred platform inside, the great, compassionate light, the liberator of all. Give gratitude and ask that it stays with you. Ask that this fire be with you and that you can go in there every day and just connect with it. Just checking in with you. You're there, right? Thank you. I might need you today. Who knows what will happen in my consciousness today? I'm going to need your help, I'm sure. Thank you so much for being there, sacred fire. Thank you. Namaste. You can talk like that to it. You keep your eyes closed and have a few moments of gratitude. Now, you can have your eyes closed, and there might be someone in your life that you feel you want to pray for, that you wish energy would go to. In these times where many people are challenged, you can bring them into your heart, and it could be more than one person. And you can actually bring your whole family into your heart. This is something I do myself every day. I bring my family into my heart, and I ask for protection from my family, so that wherever they go, they will be protected. And I found out that my father has done that for me all these years, even though he didn't know, he didn't tell anyone because, well, he's an engineer and he's not a spiritual person. He just told me that he did this anyway. So we don't have to be religious, or we can do it in our own way. I was saved so many times in my adventures in life. And I know he simply used to say, I saw like a rainbow of light came from my heart to yours, where you were on the other side of the world, and I asked for protection for you. How precious that was when I heard him share that many years later. So you can do the same for your family, your children. You ask that that light that comes from your heart goes like a rainbow to all of them, or you simply bring them into your heart. You have a golden heart, you know that. You have a golden heart, and in that heart is the residence of that supreme, compassionate light. So whoever you bring into your light, they will automatically be blessed by your sacred higher self, our shared consciousness. So we will end the session together by blessing for the great compassionate light to protect anyone that you hold in your heart right now. And if your heart is big enough, you could even hold your whole country there. If your heart is that big, you could even, maybe it's even so big it would fit the whole world in there. You could actually have the whole world in there if it fits. So whatever you hold in your heart right now, maybe, maybe other worlds would fit in there too. They would sure appreciate it. They could come and visit you and give their gratitude. There are other worlds, other dimensions. They are linked intimately with us. And there are other universes and planets and beings in our world. We can meet them, we can connect with them, but they would never force themselves on us, because their very law is love. And this frequency of love does not force itself on anybody. You have to ask for it. So with this, we open the window to open up to see how big our hearts can be. And if your heart is big enough to open the window for this whole world, this whole planet, and maybe other worlds as well, where loving beings are here, beings of light, wonderful, magical beings that want to help our world and the present condition we are in. If many people call upon this light every day, we would have a totally different world to live in a very close future. So bring this in every day if you can. And we pray for a blessing from the great compassionate light. Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Svaha, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyamom Avahayami, Avahayami, Avahayami. Om Bhuvasuvaha, Om Tatsavitur Vareniyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo yo naha prachodayat. Om Bhuvasuvaha, Om Tatsavitur Vareniyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo yo naha prachodayat. Om Bhuvasuvaha, Om Tatsavitur Vareniyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo yo naha prachodayat. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. And whatever you want in your life, see it if it's already happened. See it like a film, like a movie, or like a feeling as if it's already given. Anything you want in your life, see it as it's already like that right now. Experience it now and receive this blessing for your heart's desire, your heart's wish to manifest in your life. Tvameva matacha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha saka tvameva, tvameva vijadravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva, tvameva matacha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha saka tvameva, tvameva vijadravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva, tvameva matacha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha saka tvameva, tvameva vijadravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Om. And give gratitude. Give gratitude to the great compassionate light that lives inside you. And take an intention to create a relationship with this great compassionate light, to every day have the possibility to grow, to not be afraid to meet the challenges in your life, to use the sacred sounds, or to use the art of prayer, to simply know about the frequency of love that we each can access. It's outside our mind's capacity. It is what we call the power of grace. You connect with it in your own way. That's your sovereign gift. Love never pushes itself on us. When we ask for it, it will come. Open a window in your heart and allow that light to flow through it, encompassing all the beings you meet. You can ask for a blessing for everyone in your life. Let your day be filled with blessings. Let everyone you meet today be filled with blessings. You have that power. You can ask for that every day. Ask for that for everyone you meet, for your day and for your night. And when you're complete in your gratitude, you take a deep breath and you open your eyes in your own time. So with that, we are coming to an end to this satsang. And I want to express my deepest gratitude, all of you who are here live now. And I hope to see you on the 27th at the end of this year to move into the new year, to set intentions. And it will be so important and valuable for us to let go of that which no longer serves us. And we need to have tools with us how to go about letting go of that which is in the past and to create a vision of what we want to manifest in our life. So join me for that online course. I'm so excited to have this course. So join me on that. Love to see you again. And on this channel, every Tuesday, there's a Golden Age Consciousness meditation that you can join live. It's never recorded. This satsang will be recorded so you can see it again. But Golden Age Consciousness, it's never recorded. So you can just click like and subscribe and the bell button. Then you'll get a little notification in your phone when it's sending, so you won't miss that, because that is a place where you can bring your challenges. That's why I'm dedicated to every Tuesday night. And there's also other Golden Age Consciousness meditators with me that are doing it on Friday. So I'll post the link for that also to happen. So there's much help in the world right now. So I hope to see you again soon. My deepest love and gratitude to each and every one. Namaste.